I mean, this sounds terrible. Like, this sounds so cliche, but there's an energy with an FP Journe watch when you hold it and you put it on. And if you've ever held one, or you know somebody that owns one, or you own one, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels good to put it on.
Hi everybody, I'm wearing my Cartier Santos Carré in 18 karat yellow gold, and we are back with another episode of this unnamed, collector's series where I sit down with a friend. Today it's my buddy Peter to talk about the watch that they're wearing, and today the watch he's wearing is an incredible, complicated FP Journe in solid rose gold. I would tell you the name of the watch if I remembered, but it's eluding me now. So I'm going to sit down with Peter and talk about his watch, his feelings on it, perspective on the brand, and trajectory in collecting. Let's do it.
I just fucking got it, bro. He's just
mocking him in the background.
You were mocking me?
yeah, the whole time.
That was so good.
That is in no way nice.
That was so funny.
You're mean.
You should watch it. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it's getting used. I'm not
Because you're
recording
using.
it.
It's live and
What do you like about watches?
Generally speaking,
Yeah.
I mean, I love everything about watches. I love the way they're made. I love the stigma behind them. I love the ridiculousness. I love how people will judge you if you are into them. I love the people that are into them. I love the quirkiness of it. I love everything.
What's quirky about that watch?
It's a weird watch. The numbers are not the same size. It's not symmetrical at all, but there's so much beauty in it. Totally flat dial. This one doesn't have the guilloche dial. And it's just an odd looking watch. I feel like, if you're a watch person, you'll notice it. But if you're not, it's just a regular, dress watch.
How does it feel? Proportions, weight? What do you think?
It's near perfect. It is near perfect. It's 40 millimeters, slips under the cuff. I wear it often, a lot. I wear it a lot. And it's one of those things where if I don't wear it for a while and I put it on, I'm blown away. I'm blown away every time. Sometimes you look at your collection and you're like, okay, I'll get rid of this maybe one day. No, I never look at this watch and say to myself, I'll one day get rid of it.
And this was your first FP Journe?
It's my first FP Journe, probably my last.
Why is
Because,
that?
first of all, I don't think the one, I don't even know all the names, but I think it's the Sentiograph. It's got the triple.
I think it's just centigraph. You added a
Centigraph.
whole extra syllable. Centiograph.
Yeah, it's a Sentiograph. Centigraph?
You're like, it's a centurion. Oh, wait, no.
It's
This
a
is a centurion. I'll show you a centurion.
Yeah, so they make complicated dials, but like, why do you need more than one? Why do you need more than one watch anyway? But why do you need more than one odd-looking dress watch? I think this is, in my opinion, is enough. That being said, if I could afford to have 3 or 4 more FP Journes, I probably would, but I'm not paying those aftermarket prices. It's insane.
I remember when you were buying this, there were a few Journes you were considering. I know that, and I believe that Journe was the only brand you were considering at that time,
Yeah.
right? I remember this was, I don't know, how long was this?
I bought this October of 23.
And I remember I saw you almost immediately after you
Yeah,
purchased it.
yeah.
We had brunch, and it was funny because for the previous 2 weeks we were talking only about Journe.
Yep.
So this wasn't the only watch you were considering. What made you say, no, I think this is the one?
So, I traded 2 watches to get this. I paid some money on top. I was considering the Elegante at first, but then I said, why do I need another dress watch, casual watch? It has a rubber band on it. And then I was going to get the regular Octa, which doesn't have the moon face. And I chose this because honestly, it's a flat dial, doesn't have the guilloche, and I did not try it on before I bought it. I kind of just traded in the 2 watches, and I bought it from, I got this gray market from European Watch Company. But I just chose it because it just spoke to me. And it's weird, usually I'll try on the watch, think about it, put my name on the list. But with this, I saw pictures of it, and the gentleman who I was dealing with sent me videos of it, and I knew I was going to love it. And I knew at 40 millimeters, it was perfect.
I know very often when you're purchasing a watch, it's serving some sort of purpose, like as a totem.
Like an itch.
Well, it's like to mark a memory, whether it's an anniversary of a law firm, anniversary of a marriage. You do daughter's baptism.
Yes,
right?
I do that.
I love that. I love the sentimentality. But was there anything about this, or was it just a Sunday?
This is a product of boredom, and having 2 watches in my collection that I didn't wear, and I thought that was an act. Like having a watch in your collection, my opinion, that you don't wear is a tragedy. I think that is a tragedy of epic proportions to have a watch that you don't wear.
And as a persecuted Christian,
yeah, like I see these. Yeah.
I have a great sense of scale.
Right. I see these guys that are doing these watches. Like, yeah, I haven't worn this watch in 2.5 years. But I'm like, so then get rid of it. Like, trade it in, get something you are gonna wear. And I traded a Patek, and I traded a Cartier. And you were upset with me with this, but the Cartier skeleton white gold tank.
That was a fantastic tank.
Fantastic watch. I never wore it.
Your wife was also upset with you for that one.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, she has watches she doesn't wear either. I don't give her a shit about it. But this, I knew I would love it. And it's not in your face, I traded in a 5524R, which is a pilot, that Calatrava pilot watch that they came out with that nobody wanted. Mm-hmm. I bought that at retail. Yeah,
those 2 bolts on the side.
Yeah. Terrible watch for me. Terrible. And I think that any guy that puts that on and tells you he likes it, I think is lying to you and himself. So I was becoming that guy. Because I was like, that's a great watch.
So one day I looked in the mirror and I just didn't like what I saw.
No, I didn't like what I saw on my wrist and in the mirror. So I said to myself, I can't do it anymore. So I traded those 2 in, put some money on top, and I will always, God willing, always have this watch.
How large, because you used the word boredom, how large of a role does boredom play in the watch fixation?
So my problem is I fixate on the brand and then the watch. And then what happens is I will do everything in my power to either try to get that watch, develop a relationship to get it at retail, which I'm very big on relationships. I have my relationship with my ADs. Couldn't do it with FP Journe because it's just so limited, and I did not want to buy a watch to hopefully get another watch. I didn't want to do that. You do have to do that with them. I don't have the resources to do that at that time, and I just didn't want to do it. But I will fixate on a brand. I will fixate on a watch, and then I will try to do everything in my power to get it.
I think that does make sense, though. I think that in that order is logical, right? You fall in love with the brand because the brand represents the larger overarching story, right? The narrative. And then you say, okay, well, now that I'm bought into the story, which of the watches in that catalog, be it presently or let's say over the last 10 or 20 years, resonates with me and maybe my budget most? I think that's a very logical approach to this, which doesn't surprise me as you are an attorney yourself.
Yeah, and I am big on like relationships. So there are brands where, some of the watches I don't absolutely love, but the people that work for the brand or the people that work for that AD, I've developed like amazing relationships with.
So and I will buy the watches to keep those relationships going.
No, I won't do that. I won't just buy a watch.
I think you should just write the check to the salesman directly.
Yeah, I wish I could. Some of these salespeople, I really wish I could because, there's I'm not going to say any of the ADs or the brands, but there are brands that I haven't gotten anything from. But I will go visit that AD and I'll have a conversation with that rep who remembers me and knows what I want. And, they know I'm not just going to buy a watch to buy one. Maybe that's why I haven't gotten any brand because I won't play that game. But, for the most part, I'm very grateful.
I do think that is a natural segue, though, into something that we're trying to bring up in all of this series, which is, watches as a medium, for common ground, or watches as a common ground, medium for relationship building. Not everyone that loves watches is going to become natural friends. That's just not how it works. But it is a good spark to, make an opportunity where there wasn't one. Oh. What are your thoughts on that?
That is, you phrased that and said that so well, but I'll snowball off of that,
Let's just circle the wagon on. Let's snowball on this.
I'm going to say what you said better.
Let's build on the momentum that we got going.
Yeah. No, I'll take what you said and I'll say it better. The people that are into watches, I don't care if it's a $1,000 watch or a $100,000 watch. There's typically this overlying, overarching theme of appreciation for things and building memories. And I think this might come off as super broad, but if you can meet somebody who kind of fits into that box, then right there you have a huge connection. You care about, you value things that are well made, and that a lot of time are no pun intended, put into, and you have an appreciation for someone else who does as well, and that alone I think is a foundation of at least a start of a foundation. And if it doesn't, but I gotta say, I mean, I've met countless people just because of a watch I'm wearing, and sometimes it's not an expensive watch, sometimes it's an inexpensive watch.
No, for sure. I mean, when you're meeting someone, first of all, how are you going to meet them if not for by happenstance or common kind of ground, right? There's got to be something there that even brings two people into the same room. Of
course.
Right? And I think watches do a great job with that, like you mentioned before, the sentimentality of it, right? People that are into watches are, while not all sentimental, I think this community has a disproportionate amount of sentimental people.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was something that we
Compared-
had in common from day one, which we shot our
Right,
first time
right
we
over there,
met
a couple
was right
years
over there,
ago, yeah.
on that casting couch right over
Yeah,
there.
right on that couch. You were face down,
Yeah.
or was I face down? I think we were both face down.
You still have the brown on your nose from that.
Yeah. Well, I think we were playing tummy sticks. I don't think we were playing
That's like an old Dane Cook joke, tummy sticks.
tummy sticks. No, that's
What
from.
are your thoughts
yeah.
on FP Journe as a brand, but more specifically, the fact that it is maybe one of the only brands, maybe the only brand of any consequence that still is named after the man that is still working there, which absolutely could be a liability. You're in the law professionally. What is your thoughts on that liability?
I think the liability is if he does something, and I think there was talk of him doing something months ago, but nobody really cared. People talked about it, but I don't think people cared enough for it to have an effect on the brand. You know what it is? He makes, there's just he cannot make enough watches, right? It's a supply and demand issue. And there are far more people who want his watch than he's able to produce, right? So that in and on itself, creates this world where you just simply can't just walk in and get the watch you want. Okay, that right there is attractive to people, right? It's not attractive to me, but it's attractive to people. Now, you couple that with the fact that no one else has his designs, just really no one else. No one else tries to emulate him, right? You don't know anyone who tries to make...
It's too specific. You couldn't. You'd be a ripoff immediately.
You would immediately be a ripoff. Are there other brands that try to make something that's a sub, but it's not? Yeah. But, and I could name 20 other watches where that's the case. But with him, if you're a watch guy, or even if you're aware of the watches that are out there, you could spot one from a mile away. And I think that is, to do that at such a precise level with unbelievable workmanship, where you pick up the watch, you feel the watch, the watch, I mean, this sounds terrible, like this sounds so cliche, but there's an energy with an FP Journe watch when you hold it and you put it on. And if you've ever held one, or you know somebody that owns one, or you own one, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
it feels good to put it on. And I had my eyes on the brand before it kind of blew up, and I regret not buying, the chronometric blue at 40 grand or 35 grand.
I remember them at 23.
I don't remember them that I do remember them in the 30s. Now they're like, what, 90?
Yeah.
I mean, but like, that's crazy. Well, is it though? Because there are people that have paid that much. I know people that have paid that much for that watch.
I hate that argument. Just because people do it doesn't mean it's not crazy or illogical, right? I mean, I think we can...
It's crazy to me. It's crazy to you, but it's not crazy to the person that bought it.
Yes, of course.
And that's all it needs.
Come on, over a glass of wine, you and I can both point out a whole list of things that are absolutely fucking insane that people do participate in on a daily basis. So the volume of buy-in does not disprove the thesis that this is ridiculous, that this watch is not worth, right, in any real sense, right? The spec sheet does not justify, right, the watch. I mean, does not justify the price, rather.
But it's crazy to spend $1,000 on a watch.
No, I understand.
So you're talking about something that's crazy to begin with, right?
I understand.
So to say, for somebody, if they feel like that watch to them is worth $90,000, God bless you. It's not to me.
And just to be clear, I would never have an interest in telling someone that has a new chronometric blue that they just paid $90,000. I have no interest in telling them that it's too expensive.
And he likes
God
it,
bless.
Great.
But when asked, which we are, right, and we engage in dialogue, watch people, even if your relationships become larger than watches, are still often talking about watches.
Oh, yeah.
When you and I hang out, we still do talk about watches for at least an hour.
At minimum.
And it's usually mutual admiration for something, but then it does devolve into debate at some point,
Yeah.
right?
No, it
You know?
ends up spiraling into a pretty good conversation. But I mean, I've had conversation. I've made friends in other countries and other states, just watches.
Right.
Like I have a really close friend of mine who lives in D.C., who is a dentist, and we talk often, and that conversation has turned from watches to business to personal life, and now we're super close. I think I've seen him in person maybe a handful of times, but we talk very often, and it's all because of that connection from watches.
It's the entire thesis of this effort. Lightning round. Favorite pizzeria in New Jersey?
Favorite pizzeria in New Jersey? Bruno's Pizza in Clifton.
Why?
The best Sicilian on this earth.
Yeah.
I've been going there since I was first grade. No exaggeration. Been going there, and love the place. They remodeled it recently, which I don't like. I like the old, the little stools with the tear in it where you hop on, and the Parmesan cheese that's been sitting there for too long. Has it been out? Has it been in the fridge? I don't know. My stomach hurts. Does it matter? That's the best pizzeria.
Favorite location destination? Favorite vacation destination?
Favorite vacation destination in the States or overseas?
In the States.
Washington D.C. during the blossom season.
You've told me that. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's first of all, to me, as an attorney, as an American, as a proud American, going to D.C. and seeing these federal buildings, I am so proud. I don't care who's the president at that time. I've been to D.C. when there's different presidents, and I feel proud every time. And I go there with my daughter. We go literally every year. She loves it. We stay at the same hotel. We go to the same restaurants. We have the same pattern, and we just absolutely love it.
Favorite pair of sneakers?
Favorite pair of sneakers? That's a really good question.
You're like, I haven't worn sneakers in years since I was a boy.
No,
So you used to play with
honestly,
coins.
no. I have one leg shorter than the other.
You're like, so all my cashmere joggers are always,
yeah.
I have to get them hemmed.
Yeah. These actually aren't my knees. Favorite pair of sneakers? My wife got me into New Balance a couple of years ago, and I don't know the number. There's a specific New Balance. They make them in like all different colors. I have like 3 or 4 versions of those, and I wear them all the time. And I think they're just cool. You can beat them up. And they're super comfortable, inexpensive, and yeah.
Most thoughtful gift you've ever given? I could say generally, or I could go specifically to your wife.
Most thoughtful gift
You've ever given.
Most thoughtful gift I've ever given. So the most thoughtful gift I ever gave was a watch to my brother, which was a Panerai, because you're laughing because you know the story behind it. I had a Panerai, and Paul, who's another attorney in my office, he loved it. Okay, and I bought the watch for like very inexpensive. It was a Panerai GMT Luminar, huge.
Whatever.
Luminar,
huge.
Whatever. So I just gave it to him because he's like, oh, he kept telling me I love that watch, whatever. So I gave it to him, and he's not a watch guy. So when you give somebody who's not a watch guy a watch, what do they become? They become a watch guy. He's now a watch guy. So my brother's like, how can you do that? How can you give away a watch like that? You didn't ever give me a watch. So I gave him I got him the same watch. I gave it to him on his birthday. Yeah. Then he sold it to his, no, he didn't sell it. He let his partner, his business partner, borrow it.
He scratched it.
Who scratched it, and then he made his partner buy it from him. And then
he bought it back.
And then for $500
made a lot
more,
of bad memories in it.
Made some bad memories,
and then it got stolen.
So it was thoughtful.
You're like, anyway, we're not a Panerai family.
Yeah. So I'm not a Panerai guy. I admire the brand. I just not a Panerai guy. I met the CEO, not the current CEO. I think you were there when I met him. Mm-hmm. I think after that I became less of a Panerai guy. Yeah, he was talking. A little bit of his food landed on my shirt collar. But,
well, he seemed profoundly disinterested in what you in your very relevant little bit of insight.
Oh yeah, I told him I'm Egyptian, and I told him the Egyptian Navy,
well, they were talking about these military watches in the history.
Correct.
And you added to the conversation.
It was I said, I think Egypt, was buying watches for their Navy. And
totally, I'm not interested in Egypt.
Yeah. I wish he even said that. I don't think he said it. He just like looked at me, blinked hard, and goes, "Okay, all right, yeah." Anyway, yeah. So that was the end of that. So I'll probably never buy a Panerai.
Yeah. Thank you for sitting down.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.